what if there's a way that we can go into the future now, be that person, become that person, connect to that person, have a lived experience in the moment of being that person already and be changed, and let that rewire our entire life. So much of moving towards a vision or a goal is it's changing our habits and behavior. The traditional self-development method is you've got to control yourself, you've got to push and force and make yourself be different. Hey guys, it's Monty here, and in this video I am going to be exploring vision or goals. Which one is more powerful? And just a little spoiler alert, I don't know the answer. I don't even know if there is an answer. I think there's a lot of stuff out there that promotes the idea of like, this is the way. This is the way, and if you're not doing it this way, then you're not going to get the results. And I just don't agree with that. Like, I love The Mandalorian, don't get me wrong. Maybe not the third season, because what the actual fuck. But, you know, the idea of this is the way. Serious Mando face. It's like so limiting. So in this video, I'm just going to riff on my own experiences with setting goals and pushing myself to achieve those goals, and then instead using vision, like the idea of vision and connecting to something higher than myself. But before I get into it, I just want to preface this video with how I'm feeling right now, which is this feels really edgy and vulnerable because this is the first video that I've made where I don't have a script. I don't know what I'm going to say, and I really just want to show up as myself and speak from my own experience, because I've noticed a pattern in the industry and in myself that we show up with this idea of like, I have all the answers, and I've got no fucking idea. Like, I'm at this point in my life where I'm looking around and I'm like, I don't know. You know the shrug emoji, that's my favorite emoji, and I use it all the time. And so I'm kind of at this place where I'm like, what if I just be the embodiment of that emoji of like, I don't know. And for the purpose of this video, like, we're talking about goals and vision, and I have a vision for my life. I have a dream. I have something that I'm working towards that I've sort of scooted around for such a long time because I was too stuck in figuring out how I was going to make it happen. And that is that I want to travel the world speaking on stages, which is scary to even say out loud, but that's kind of what I want, you know? And if I'm not willing to own that, and if I'm not willing to take big, messy action that looks like just being myself and showing up and sharing what I've experienced in a really unfiltered way, then I'm never going to get there, you know? All right, so enough preamble about where I'm at in my life. Let's talk about goals and vision. So like I said, I don't have the answer. I don't think there is one answer. I think that sometimes goals are really helpful and really powerful, and sometimes vision is way more powerful. I think we go through ebbs and flows in our lives where sometimes we do need something a bit more masculine, a bit more pushy, a bit more like rigid and structured, like goals. And sometimes we need to elevate ourselves beyond what we can see in our everyday lives to give us that bigger vision that then allows us to shift our state and move towards the ideal, like the life that we actually really want to live. So back in, I think it was pandemic times, so probably about 2020, I was stuck in a rut. Like, I was really unwell and really unhappy with my life, and just in this place where I was like, right, I need to change my life. I'm going to change myself. I'm going to do the thing. So I started looking at goals, because that was my default, because I've studied so much of the self-development wisdom, and that was my go-to, was like, right, start making goals, taking action, doing the thing. And then the pandemic hit, and I sort of had this moment where I was like, fuck, the world is fucked. Like, it's broken, and I'm worried about how much I weigh and how much is in my bank account and what I'm doing for work. You know, that just seems so irrelevant right now. So I kind of fell into this little patch of depression where I was like, oh my God, I'm just so absorbed in myself and what I'm doing, and I'm fucking tired of it. And it's not actually making a difference in my life. And it's not actually making a difference in this world, because that's something that's really important to me. I care deeply about humanity, and yet I wasn't doing anything to make the world a better place. I was just in this little like self-absorbed bubble of my own stuff. And then this global event happened that made me go, fuck, like, look from here to here, like, there's so much more going on. And that is one of the things that I would say is the downfall of goals. They can get you in this place, or from my experience, they got me into this place where I was like, just so blinders on and like focused on exactly what was in front of me that I couldn't see beyond that. And that can be a really dangerous place to play, because we don't know anything. Like, we really don't know anything. So when we come to like setting goals, we're limited to our own knowledge, like the edges of our own knowledge, right? So if I'm setting a goal, I'm like, I want to lose 10 kilos. I'm just going to use body weight because it's such a common goal. I want to lose 10 kilos, so therefore I need to da-da-da-da-da-da. I've got to train this much, I've got to eat this way, I've got to count my calories, we go through all the normal steps, right, to get to the thing. And then we measure ourselves by whether we're moving towards or away from that thing. And it's like, for me in the past, on the days where I did the things and I showed up and I like counted my calories and I ate right, then I was good enough. And on the days when I didn't do that, I wasn't good enough. And until I achieved that goal, I wasn't going to be happy. So I think that this is one of the downfalls of setting goals, is it's so limited to what we know, and we kind of then have to go, okay, to get from where I am to that goal, I have to plan out all the steps, controlling, thinking that we know better than life, right? Shut up. But we don't. We know so little. So what if there's a way for you to get to that goal without needing to know how it happens? And this is where we lean back into vision. So in terms of what I'm talking about when I say vision, I'm thinking not just a vision board, not just like writing down this is a vision for my life or having a vision statement. I've done all of that, and it doesn't move the needle at all because it doesn't change me. It doesn't have any impact on how I show up in my life on a daily basis, because like I've got it on my wall right here and I look at it every day and I go, oh, that's really pretty. Oh, I'd like to do those things, but it doesn't change my behaviors. And that's what so much of moving towards a vision or a goal is. It's changing our habits and behaviors. And the goal setting method and the like traditional self-development method is you've got to control yourself, you've got to push and force and make yourself be different. You've got to make yourself change your habits and behaviors. So goals are very fixed, I feel. In my experience, when I've been really driven by goals, I've felt really rigid and limited and kind of contracted. Whereas when I connect to vision and I think of something greater than myself, like when the pandemic hit and I realized that I was stuck looking at my own shit and my own goals and like this, I sat down with a piece of paper and I wrote, well, what's my vision for the world? Like for the whole world, what's my ideal for how I want every single being on this planet to live? And it was like it pulled me out of my life and made me look at the bigger picture. And then it was so powerful because I could go, well, who do I get to become to serve that vision? And so for the moment in my life, I've just decided to completely let go of goals because I've tried that. I've tried that so many times, and I can do it to a point. You know, I did the 75 hard, I've done all these things, but I can do it for a short amount of time. And the thing that I'm most focused on at the moment is how can I create sustainable change in my life? How can I create change in a way that I can maintain over a long period of time? I feel like goals are like, I'm going to control and push and force myself until I get this thing. And then it's like the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And that's just so exhausting. So my exploration at the moment is how can this be easier? Like how can this be less stressful, less pressure, less heavy, and more fun? So I've been playing with just on a daily basis, really connecting to my vision. And when I say that, I mean having a full-bodied experience of that vision already being fulfilled. So thank you very much, Joe Dispenza. Your meditations are, I'm using a Joe Dispenza meditation that's a 15-minute meditation. And what it does is it gets you to shift your state through breath, because the body is so important. Like just thinking about things and just writing them down is, yes, it's powerful, and yes, it will start changing your mindset if you do it enough, but it's like you have to really brainwash yourself. Whereas when you bring the body into it, when you bring your energetics into it, and you have like a full-bodied experience of already being the person who is living the vision that you have, it's kind of like you're short-circuiting the process, because you're going into the future, becoming that person, shifting your state, actually creating new neural pathways in your brain that then means that when you come out of that experience and you open your eyes, you are different. You've changed your state. So then the choices that you make throughout the day, the behaviors, the habits, they're going to be different because you are different. So for me, in my experience, and like I said, I don't have any of the answers, this is way more powerful. If we can get into a state where we let go of the world that is and connect to the possibilities and like let ourselves dream into the ideal, like we are creating the neural pathways that that person has, which means, like I said, when you get up off that pillow, when you come out of that meditation, whatever you want to call it, that experience, you are different. You've changed your filter. And it might take a month, it might take 3 months of doing this on a daily basis, but it means that it's effortless. It means that something inside of you is different, so that instead of trying to push yourself to not binge eat, to not watch television, you just naturally go, oh, I'm not that person anymore. It's almost like you just know you're not that person anymore. And so your whole life gets to change because you are different. This is why, for me, I feel like vision is so much more powerful. Because I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know how I get from being 37, living with my parents, broke, single, nothing happening really at all, to this vision I have of traveling the world, giving keynote speeches, being on stages. I don't know how I get from here to there. I'm being the embodiment of the shrug emoji. I don't know. But I trust that if I keep connecting to that vision and then listening and receiving and taking action on the things that my intuition is telling me is going to move me closer to that, like showing up on camera and just being myself and speaking my truth and sharing my wisdom, that is actually my vision speaking back to me through time, saying, "Hey, dickhead, go this way, do this, show up this way." So it's this process of, yes, connecting to the vision, yes, being clear on what that is, but also then having the strength and the courage and the conviction to surrender it, to let it go, to not be in that space of control, because we don't know. Like I can try and map the steps that I would need to take to get from here to there, but they would be based on other people's experiences, other people's DNA. It wouldn't be my truth. It would be me trying to micromanage the universe. And like, I really do believe that there is something greater than us that, is governing this entire reality. Science might call it dark matter. I tend to call it the universe. Everyone has a different philosophy, but there's something else. Like, there's something beyond what we know. And when I go into that space of using my imagination, connecting it into my body, taking myself away from this lived reality into a future timeline that feels real, and then take action from that place, instead of going, this is my goal, this is all the steps I have to take to get there, it not only feels way better, like it's so much nicer. Like, when I go into the vision and I go into this meditation, I end up in tears of gratitude because it feels so real. And then it's almost like, well, my job then, the real personal development, self-development, whatever you want to call it, which is another video, but I think we need to let go of that terminology because it's so self-focused. But it's like, my job is to clear all the internal noise, all the parts of me that want to control, that need to know the plan on how I get there, the doubts, the beliefs, the emotions, all the noise in my system that's telling me that that's not possible, is actually what's blocking me from receiving the guidance I need, the intuitive downloads, the hits, whatever you want to call it, the inspiration that's saying, do this, go there, say this, record this video, speak to this person. That is how we get to create our lives. This idea of like needing a structure and needing a plan is so old. Like, it's such an old way of thinking. And if you think about it in terms of like metaphysics or science or whatever, it's like the Newtonian way of thinking. It's very mechanical. It's very, these are the building blocks of the universe, of life, of the human body, and there's nothing else. Whereas the Einsteinian view, the quantum view, understands that if we go far enough down into the particles, there's nothing there. It's all just energy. And so if we believe that we can't have an impact on the world, the universe, just through our own energy, emotion, body, mind, thoughts, then we're living in a very outdated way of doing things. So when we step into vision and we step into this like empowered place of connecting to the energy, becoming the embodiment in the moment. It could be 10 minutes. Like my practice is 15 minutes in the morning. And I come out of that feeling like I've rewired my entire life. All the timelines of my entire life are changed in that moment. Has anything actually changed? Not yet, but I believe that I'm moving that way. And I'm watching myself show up in different ways. I'm watching myself change my habits and behaviors without having to try, without having to push and force and make myself do it, which has just been such an exhausting way of trying to do life. And so many people live that way. And it's like, what if there's a better way? So what if there's a way that we can go into the future now, be that person, become that person, connect to that person, have a lived experience in the moment of being that person already, living that experience, and then come out of our meditation or experience or whatever you want to call it and be changed and let that rewire our entire lives. Doesn't that sound heaps better? Doesn't that sound way more fun? Because it means you don't have to wait. Like I don't have to wait until I achieve the thing to know what it's like to be that person. And so much of that, like needing to plan and know the outcome and you know, control all the steps is because I want to know what it's going to be like there. So if I just go there, know what it's like, and then come back and go, oh, that's great, and let myself make different choices, be a different person, show up in a different way, then I'm actually short-circuiting the entire process. And again, I don't know how I get there, but maybe that gets to be part of the fun. And maybe it's about not being so over serious about everything and needing to know all the steps and just going, I don't know. But I feel like if I do this thing, then it's going to move me towards the goal that I'm dreaming of or the vision or whatever. So that's my experience at the moment. This is what I've grown through. And like, if you're feeling really tired and like weighed down by the idea of having goals and structure and timelines and task lists and all the things, and you want to lean into a different way of doing things, then I really encourage you to play with vision, play with things like Joe Dispenza's meditations that take you into that space and allow you to have that embodied experience and just see what happens. Like, do it for a month and see what happens. That's what I'm doing. And it feels great. It feels so freeing, and it feels like it's having a way more powerful impact. Whether or not it is actually changing my external experience is actually irrelevant, because it's changing how I feel. It's making me feel more powerful and more confident and more like, yes, that is my life. It's not here yet. And like I said, I don't know how I get there, but I'm going to find out, and I'm going to keep showing up. So that's my TED Talk. Thanks for coming. Also, if you have a different experience, then I would love to hear it in the comments. Like, this is not me telling you what to do. This is a discussion of like, which is more powerful? Is it goals or is it vision? I think it's vision, but you might have a different experience. And if so, I would love to hear it.